Hey mamas, it's Kristen Noel, founder of the Intuitive Divorce, popping on here with my beautiful team member, Master Coach Joe Young. And we are hot off the presses from another really amazing class. And as you can see from our lovely hats, we are celebrating Mother's Day. In a way, we're always celebrating Mother's Day because we're celebrating mothers and we're celebrating what they walk through and what
Mm,
they're walking through now. And it was interesting because I was just before we got on class, I was writing a newsletter and because I know that holidays can be triggering and especially, something like Mother's Day. Maybe you're a mama who's just staring down a divorce. Maybe you're in the messy middle, or maybe you're already living in a separate house. But regardless, it stirs the pot because it doesn't feel the same. The holiday doesn't feel the same. There's, it's just like laden with expectation. And so we really just started class today. We just popped on, we had our mama hats on, and we just really wanted to honor our mamas. I would say that, like, for most moms, if you ask them, what was the most monumental day of your life? Most mamas would answer, the day I became a mama, the day I gave birth, the day I adopted my baby. The day I became a mama. So you know what? Hell to the no, we are not letting you not celebrate you. And we know it may not feel the same. And that's okay because you're not the same. You're going
mm.
through a divorce. So we are here to just sort of remind you to show up for yourself, to find a way to celebrate, to find a way to honor and love and nurture yourself wherever you are, whatever you're dealing with, whether you're in a divorce or not in a divorce. So that's kind of where we started class today. And then God only knows, we never know where it's going to lead. And it's really beautiful. This was one of our favorite classes, which is really just a class. We call it office hours, but it's where we just show up and we check in and we see where everybody's at and how they're feeling. And we always like to say, like, so how is your heart today?
Yeah, it's a beautiful class. We get lots of different answers to that because everybody's in a different place. And I was thinking about this concept of Mother's Day, obviously, as we're going into this and we're celebrating it. And there seemed to be a common theme today that we landed on a little bit around. I feel, and I know you feel, Kristen, because we talk about this all the time, that the greatest gift we can do is to honor exactly where we are and to
Mhm.
be able to show up and give ourselves permission to be in the space that we're in. And then what do we do with that, right? Like, how do we give ourselves just the grace to go, you know what? This is really hard. What I'm navigating is really difficult. And there are moments of real joy, and there are moments of play and laughter and all the things. And the beautiful part about this group and it being so centered around mothers is that everybody has that in common. Everybody in that room wants what is best for their children.
Mhm.
And they're all at different places and stages with what that means and how to best serve them. But no matter what's going on, the best gift you can give your child is to show up in love and honor and ownership of yourself, because then you have so much to offer to them.
Mhm.
So we talked a lot about that today and what that means for each person.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that is it. It's like amen to that. Absolutely. Creating the capacity for your own self to nurture and honor and feel and be and heal. This is not an afterthought. This isn't for later. This is for now. This is why the work that we're doing. Granted, we're talking strategy with divorce. We're talking, every class we're unpacking lots of strategy and lots of tools for navigating tricky negotiations with narcissists and high conflict individuals. But separate and aside from that, the game changer here is the condition that you show up in for those difficult encounters, for those difficult conversations. And how do you do that? You take care of yourself. It's really critical. to show up for yourself because that will impact everything. And it's not an afterthought because how you show up is how you're going to be able to show up for all of these experiences and encounters that you're going to have with your children. And there's a lot that comes up. There was one mom in particular that's really dealing with a difficult situation with a child who's having separation anxiety and not wanting to go to school. She's got a lot of support with the school and people that are really trying to help her through this. And she's got, a therapist and all of that. But she's got to show up for that every day. And you know what? You've got to be in a certain kind of condition to be able to endure, have some endurance in those scenarios. That doesn't mean it's perfect. That doesn't mean you're always going to show up and be your best self. But if you set yourself up well, if you take care of yourself, you're in a much better position to deal with that. And mark my words, there's stuff that's going to come up. It's like we talk about all the time in the program. Divorce is full of in-between moments, in between the court dates, in between the delayed dates with the courts, the filings, the meetings with your attorneys, the back and forth. Lots of life happens in those moments. So this program is steeped in, and our work is steeped in supporting you and giving you tools and strategies like Joe has so amazingly brought to our program the importance of nervous system regulation and how you can simply implement that in any given moment and really shift whatever that encounter is that you're having that's triggering you, triggering your children, triggering your ex, triggering whoever. And so this could not be more important. Taking care of yourself couldn't be more important. You are the mothership. You are the
Mm,
foundation
mm.
of which everything stands upon.
Yeah. And we even talked today specifics about ways to do that with your children, including them. It's not like you're going to sit down and have this necessarily deep conversation with a young child about how to regulate their nervous system, right? But there's fun ways to implement that in
Hmm.
each and every day so that you're not only giving it to yourself, but you're modeling for them what it is to be able to go, oh, I'm feeling a little stressed today. What can I do with that? Or I
Hmm.
have all these big feelings that I can't put words to. It's so frustrating for children. And so oftentimes it does come out sideways and in other ways around not wanting to go to school. Behaviors shift as mothers were highly aware of all of that. And
Hmm.
it's like, okay, so what are some things I can do if my child doesn't have the vocabulary to explain how they're feeling? And there's easy, simple ways to do that. And I love that we get to share that with the moms in
Hmm.
this group.
Hmm. Well, it's also
They are
why,
true game changers.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also why we really say you can harness the power of your intuition during your divorce and make this a healing journey. And the most beautiful thing is that healing has so many layers and it moves forward and it moves backward. We caught a mama today saying she was in the car with her daughter and she was kind of rolling her eyes. She's like, she's so sensitive and she's so emotional. And, I saw her face in the rearview mirror and she had this face on and I knew she was upset about something. And we were unpacking that a little bit with her and she handled the situation great because she just point blank was said like, what's up? What's going on? And her daughter was like, I don't know. I'm just having these feelings and I'm just not happy. And I don't know what it is. And she had a conversation, she nurtured her daughter, but then she said to us in class, she was like, oh, she's just like me. And we were like, wait a minute, what does that mean? What does that mean? She's like, well, I was just the sensitive one. And the way she was describing it was that it was something that needed to be fixed, something that was wrong, something that she'd be ashamed
Yeah.
of. And we were able to say to her, hold on a minute, hold on a minute. I don't know who told you that. I mean, when I was a kid also, I used to cry all the time and, I got if you keep crying, I'll give you something to cry about. What are you crying about? Because nobody knew how to deal with kids, sensitive children, kids with emotions, kids with feelings, or to discuss it. But in this conversation, the
Mhm.
beauty of this was we were able to celebrate what she was doing right with her child and then also help her see the reflection in how she was labeling herself or how she had been labeled and how she had carried that her whole life. And then she married a man that didn't honor those feelings and didn't honor that she was sensitive. We were like, girl, sensitivity is a superpower. It's a gift. We want to be sensitive beings. There's nothing wrong with being sensitive. You want to be intuitive, you've got to be sensitive. We want to be loving people. We need to love ourselves, but we want to love others. We want to hold capacity for that. So, this is the kind of incredible reflection that happens in that container. Mom will start telling about something about her kid, and then it's always linked. It's always somehow like, right, like directly linked to her experience or her house or maybe her family of origin or something within her that needed to be seen and felt and healed and released, right?
Yeah. And it was, it's always fascinating. And I also know from experience, it's so easy seemingly to give to our children all these beautiful things that we want for them that maybe we didn't have. But we
Mhm.
forget that in this process, we also have wounded parts of us, right, that need to hear the same things and be nurtured the same ways. So we left them this week
Mhm.
saying, how can you mother yourself this week? How
Mhm.
can you honor you and really do something beautiful for yourself this week?
Mhm.
Because you deserve your own attention. You deserve your own love and nurturance, just like your children do.
Mhm.
So I think that's a beautiful thing to leave everyone with is, what really can you do to honor yourself and be there for yourself this year in a way that a mother would, in a way that a mother would hear you and nurture you and love you through something.
And again, we're all over the map because the women in our group are all over the map in different places in their divorces, different places in their healing. And again, there's just such beautiful reflection. There's such beautiful sharing. There's such
Yeah.
beautiful support and nurturing. You know what? You put mamas in a group, in a room together, there's going to be a lot of love. There's going to be a lot of sensitivity. There's going to be a lot of intuition, a lot of wisdom, a lot of heart, and fierce, fierce mama bear protection. And that's a beautiful thing. And I do think this is a really good place to just leave everyone off this week, which is where can you mother yourself? Where can you give yourself permission to receive love, to receive support?
And obviously, we're a big fan of Mama's Day.
Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Oh, for sure. For sure. And buy yourself flowers, you know.
That's right. Write your name in the sand. Oh, wait, I think that's a song.
And write your name in the sand. Oh, yeah. So Joe's always off on a beach somewhere, right? Like that's her happy place.
Yeah.
So
In my
happy
heart
Mother's
and
Day.
in physicality. Yes.
And you know what? I think we need to like celebrate mothers every day.
Being a mom is filled with so many things, but most of all, heart.
Yeah, heart. And when we take care of ourselves, we have a pitcher to pour from. Just remember that. Remember that you are not an afterthought, mama. Your self-care is not an afterthought, particularly now going through divorce. And I know you got a lot of pulls on you. I know you've got a lot of bills. You got legal bills and you've got financial bills and this, that, and the other. But you know what? You are allowed to give yourself permission to put yourself on the priority list because trust me when I say how you get through this will impact everything. Permission. Please, if you hear nothing else, please receive this permission slip to nurture yourself, to show up for yourself, to support yourself, to love yourself for this Mother's Day and every day that you're going through this. And we're just sending you big, big love.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day!